To enter this dimension, you have to die in a forest biome. Okay guys, and welcome to today's showcase. Aylyth is a dimension mod for the latest Fabric version, and yeah, it adds a dimension filled with horrific creatures. It is a very hostile place to be in, and I hope you enjoy today's video. Without further ado, let's get started.
The easiest way to enter the Aylyth is to venture through dense forests to find a seeping tree. Through the orange portal, the player will enter a hostile environment filled with vicious monsters. Other ways to enter the dimension is by drowning, dying of fall damage, or being killed by a witch in a forest biome. This only works sometimes, so rather search for a seep. Disclaimer: please keep in mind that this dimension is a hostile one. Not even netherite armor can defend you completely. This mod does not work with shaders, unfortunately. To leave the dimension, you either need to die or find another seep. Before going into the details of this mod, with its fantastic monsters and features, I want to show you all biomes you may find yourself in within the Aylyth dimension. The corpse features even terrain and taller dark oak trees, and a new tree, Ympe. A variant of this biome is the coniferous corpse, with spruce trees instead of dark oak. Resembling the plains biomes, the clearing is quite the rarer biome with marigolds flowers and sparkles that look like fireflies. No hostile mobs will spawn within this biome. This land is also the easiest to spot a new tree, the pomegranate tree. The fruit can be harvested with a right click. Upon consuming pomegranate, the player will be inflicted with a new effect called White Red. This will slow down the player immensely and deals out a massive damage near a seep, preventing an easy escape. A variant of the clearing biome is the overgrown clearing, with trees scattered around the landscape. The deep wood features tall dark oak trees, massive Ympe trees, and naturally spawned large woody growth, important for some recipes. A variant of this biome is the so-called coniferous deep wood. Just like the corpse, this will not have dark oak anymore, but instead spruce trees. Growing under the tree type, the taller white Wretherwood, the Maya is a muddy biome with water bodies and less grass. Within the darkest depths of the underground, you may come across patches of soul soil. These areas are called bowels. Ympefication. Throughout the world you will find some trees with fruit hanging on its trunk. This is the fruit used against the mechanism called Ympefication. One's heart will become overgrown by roots. A small root will be attached to one's leg. This small plant will grow over time until it surrounds your body, spreading roots over your screen and inflicting various debuffs, like mining fatigue or slowness. If you don't do anything about it, it will suffocate you and summon a humanoid creature called Skin. It will have your armor and weapons. The rest of your items will be stored in a nearby woody cache. Thankfully, the roots can be minimized or removed entirely by eating Ympe fruit. Flora and Fauna. One of the most important trees is the Ympe. This is also the source of Ympe fruit. One can obtain it by interacting with parts of the fruit-bearing log. By upgrading an Ympe sapling with a netherite ingot, the player can acquire the Ympe dagger. One can hollow out the fruit of the Ympe tree to create a fantastic item. By holding it in your offhand while killing an entity, it will be stored within the fruit. With a right click, it can be released. One may spot jack-o'-lantern mushrooms on the side of trees. Their only use is to craft shroom lights. The ghost cap mushrooms thrive on the ground. Upon consumption, the player will be inflicted with nausea. Within the deep wood, one may spot some greenish vines growing downward from logs. These will grow Nicean grapes. Naturally, they can be eaten, however their main use is to create the Morticus potion. This will apply regeneration and nausea for a few seconds, but also the new effect called Morticus. Some buffs are applied if the player is near death, like speed and strength. Mobs. From time to time the player may spot a floating light. Not only are these already very pretty to look at, but they even have a purpose. In exchange of 5 experience levels, the pilot light will guide the player back to home by teleporting them into the overworld. Scratching their opponents to death, the Aylythian is the most common mob in this dimension. Upon killing an Aylythian, woody growth may appear from the ground. These small humanoids will spawn within each biome. Crawling on the ground, an elder Aylythian is the grown form of an Aylythian, spawning only in the 2 deep wood biomes. This vicious monster will use tree roots to hinder and crush the player. Upon death, they may drop the Aylythian heart and plant some Ympe seeds. When the player kills this entity by using the Ympe dagger, one can obtain some wrong meat. When consumed, the player may be inflicted with Cimmerian. This makes undead ignore you unless you attack them. The effect can also be applied when consuming pomegranate. The Aylythian heart has a special ability. If held in your offhand when you die, death will be prevented and you will be sent to the dimension instead with all your items and experience. The heart and the red ingot and some other ingredients can be crafted into the vital thurible. Fill it with wrong meat to permanently increase your health. With the power of the Aylythian heart and some other ingredients, one can create a choric seed. Firstly, place a soul campfire and add 2 wrong meats, 1 heart and 1 filled shooked Ympe fruit. It doesn't matter with what it is filled. Around the campfire, place Ympe saplings and right-click with the dagger. You got your own choric seed. Combine it with the heart to craft the cuirass. Quite stylish, but only works when you are standing on grass under the sky. Depending on the damage received, more and more wood pieces will be broken. Fire magic and axes ignore the wood and will damage you directly. Another weapon can be created by combining netherite ingots, Ympe saplings and a choric seed. The lance will increase the player's range and reach by 1 block. One can even throw it like a trident. When it hits a target while flying, it will stack into the body of your enemy, dealing out even more damage. After some time, the lance will automatically come back to you. Lastly, the Ympe glaive has a special ability. By right-clicking, it will attack everything in front of the player, dealing out way more damage. Slain entities will continue existing as souls. These will attack mobs for you before they die. Another item created with this seed is the Ympe effigy. This will turn the player into an undead, meaning healing potions will hurt one, while damage potion effects will heal the player. One won't burn, but it disables all other potion effects except wither. This also prevents one to lose hunger, but health is harder to regenerate. The player can also create the Girasol seed. Plant this in your overworld to grow a tree with seed. Another use of this heart is to create the soul hearth. By filling it up with pomegranates, the player can set their spawn points within the dimension. Resembling a humanoid creature, the Skjon is covered in leaves and antlers, spawning only in the deep wood. Upon death, they drop Ympe seeds, rotten flesh, but also nice and grape or pomegranates. Even this dimension has its own hound, the Fauna Aylythian. If you hear it screeching, better run for your life. This entity will hunt you down relentlessly and can jump high. If you can save yourself, consider yourself lucky. Wretched Hind. Spawning within the depths of the deep wood, a monstrous deer-like creature will screech, slowly venturing through this land. If this large giant is given stacks of juicy nice and grapes, the player may earn its protection. As soon as it trusts one, it will either follow you around helping to find entities, or when you are too low on health, it will kill you instead, but you respawn with your items. Summons. With Deep Stake, the choric seed and netherite ingots, one can create the Ympe mold. This gigantic statue will defend its owner as soon as they are activated. With a shift click, they can be picked up again. One can even deactivate them with another right click. Another beast can be summoned by using soul soil and bone blocks. Hold a choric seed and in your offhand 16 phantom membranes. Then right click the lower bone block on the side with 2 bones. This is the bone fly. The player can ride it or even fly with it, however, this mount won't defend you. Lastly, one can create a monster called Tulpa with soul soil and a large woody growth, or wake it with a choric seed. This mob is still in development, but it will be rather helpful as players can access its inventory and thus making it stronger.
That was today's video. If you ended up liking it, then maybe leave a like or even consider to subscribe, and we'll see us in the next video. Stay safe in game. Ciao.